The glow of the computer screen casts eerie shadows in the dark room where I sit, scrolling endlessly. Social media, a realm of curated smiles and deceptive calm, now feels like a battleground. Agatha's profile flickers in front of me, a series of happy snapshots and love-filled captions, but none of it with me. It's late, yet here I am, nursing a glass of whiskey and watching her interactions with a certain profile that keeps appearing with alarming frequency. Tom Harrison, I mutter under my breath, my fingers hovering over the keyboard as I click through his photos. Each like and comment from Agatha, each seemingly innocent emoji she sends him, stings like a betrayal. They aren't just friends, no one uses that many heart eyes emojis for a friend. I remember laughing it off when I first noticed. Agatha is too devoted, too in love with our life to stray, I had convinced myself. But the doubt, once a tiny seed, had grown thorns and was now impossible to ignore. The clock ticks past midnight when I decide to confront her sister, Clara, who has always been more approachable than Agatha herself. I grab my phone and dial her number, my heart pounding in my ears. "Hey, Clara, it's me," I start, trying to keep my voice steady. "I need to ask you something." It's about Agatha and Tom Harrison. There's a pause on the line, a silence too heavy, too telling. "Look, I didn't want to be the one to tell you this," Clara's voice comes through, tinged with reluctance. "Tom isn't just a friend. They've been seeing each other for months now." The finality in her words hits me like a physical blow. The room spins slightly as I slump back in my chair, the phone slipping slightly from my grasp. My mind races through our recent memories, her late nights at work, the weekend she was too busy to spend time together, her phone always face down. How could I have been so blind? Revenge, a dark and twisted thought, creeps into my mind. Not violent, but decisive. I need to regain control, to stop being the victim of her deceit. As the night deepens, my plan begins to take shape, each detail meticulously crafted to dismantle the life she chose over ours. The next morning, I watch her as she prepares for work, her face the picture of innocence. "Agatha," I call out, my voice calm despite the storm raging inside. "We need to talk." She turns, a frown marring her features. "Is everything okay?" "No," I reply simply, my fingers tapping on the table. "It's about Tom Harrison." The color drains from her face, confirming what I already know. She stammers, trying to fabricate excuses, but I raise my hand to stop her. "I know everything, Agatha. It's over." Her pleas turn to sobs, but my resolve is ironclad. The divorce papers, already prepared, are slid across the table to her. This is the first move in my strategic collapse of the life she betrayed. As she reads the documents, I stand, ready to walk away from the wreckage, my heart hardening with each step I take. Never again will I see her face. The crisp morning air bites at my cheeks as I step outside, leaving behind the shattered remnants of what was once our shared life. Agatha's sobs echo in my ears, a haunting soundtrack to the decisive steps I take towards my car. Today, retribution isn't just a concept, it's my mission. As I drive towards the city, my phone buzzes relentlessly. Calls from Agatha, texts pleading for a chance to explain, to mend things. But the bridge between us has burned, and I'm the one who struck the match. My first stop is the bank. We had shared everything, finances intertwined like the vines of a relentless ivy. Not anymore. I stride into the bank, the doors swinging wide as if anticipating the drama they're about to witness. "I need to see the manager," I declare to the teller, my voice a mixture of calm and authority. Within minutes, I'm seated across from the bank manager, a middle-aged woman with a practiced smile that doesn't reach her eyes. I lay the documents on her desk, bank statements, the divorce papers, and a court order for the temporary freezing of our joint accounts. "I need these accounts separated." "Immediately," I say, tapping the paper emphatically. The manager reviews the documents, her expression turning serious. "This will freeze any outgoing transactions from Mrs. Agatha's side until further court directives." "Exactly," I affirm. The first crack in Agatha's armor. With the financial ties severed, I next head to her favorite boutique, a small, exclusive shop where she's a preferred customer. Walking in, I'm greeted by the chirpy attendant who recognizes me instantly. Back for a surprise for Mrs. Agatha, she asks, her smile bright. Something like that, I reply. Actually, I'm here to cancel our standing order for her monthly Pix. And the card on file? I'd appreciate it if you could delete it. Her smile falters, confusion knitting her brows. Oh, Are you sure? Quite sure, I say, my tone leaving no room for argument. Leaving the boutique, I feel a weight lift off my shoulders, one deceitful thread at a time being pulled from the fabric of my life. The small victories are accumulating, each one a step towards emancipation from her betrayal. But the real battleground is still to come. I pull up outside Tom Harrison's office. It's a towering glass structure that glints mockingly in the sunlight. I have something special planned for him. Taking a deep breath, I step into the lobby, heading straight for the security desk. Tom Harrison, I say crisply. I need to see him. It's urgent. Guided upstairs by a security officer, I'm soon standing outside Tom's office. The door swings open, and there he is, the man who thought he could steal my life and get away with it. Tom's eyes widen in shock as he stands up. What the? I thought it's time we met, Tom. Man to man, I say, closing the door behind me with a soft click that sounds like a cell door shutting. He backs away slightly, his face paling. Look, I can explain. There's nothing to explain. You knew she was married, I cut him off, my voice steady, my stance unyielding. The conversation is intense, accusations flying, denials crashing against the hard truth. But I leave him with a warning that's colder than the steel frames that hold up his glossy office. Stay away from her, or the next chat we have won't be just a chat. Driving away from his office, the city seems different, sharper, as if I'm seeing it for the first time through a new lens of betrayal and resolve. The sun sets, casting long shadows that feel like they're pointing me towards my next move. Tonight, I plan my next steps. Agatha's world, built on lies and deceit, will continue to crumble. And as for Tom, he's just received his first taste of the consequences. The game is far from over, it's just intermission, and I'm only getting started. The intrigue deepens, and the plot thickens, ready to twist again in the chapters to come. Dawn breaks with a merciless clarity as I wake, the events of yesterday casting long shadows into the new day. The city, with its hustle and noise, seems a stark contrast to the silence that has become my life now. As I prepare for the day, each action is deliberate, fueled by the cold resolve that has settled in my bones. Today's plan is clear, and it centers around exposing the truth. My first stop is at Agatha's workplace. The atmosphere of the corporate office is sterile, buzzing with the subdued chaos of a typical morning. I bypass the reception, knowing exactly where I need to go. Entering the open office area, I spot Agatha immediately. Her eyes meet mine, wide with shock, then quickly filling with dread. Without hesitation, I stride towards her, aware of the many eyes now following my every move. Agatha, I announce loudly, ensuring every ear in the vicinity can hear, your secrets aren't secret anymore. I know about you and Tom Harrison. The office falls into a stunned silence. Whispers start to curl around the room like smoke as co-workers exchange looks of disbelief. Agatha stands, her chair scraping back abruptly. This is private, please, she hisses, her voice trembling. There's nothing private about betrayal, I retort, my voice echoing slightly in the open space. You made sure of that when you brought your affair into our lives. Her face flushes a deep red, her usual composure crumbling under the weight of public scrutiny. I'll talk to you outside, she pleads, grabbing her purse and almost running towards the exit. Outside, the cool air does little to temper the heat of the moment. Agatha rounds on me, anger replacing her initial shock. How dare you embarrass me like that? In front of everyone? How dare I? I scoff, my tone icy. How dare you cheat and lie? You're worried about embarrassment? What about how I felt? We argue, the words sharp and jagged, tearing at the remnants of whatever bond we had left. But I'm not here to argue, I'm here to make a point. As she stumbles over her words, trying to justify her actions, I cut her off. It's over, Agatha. I came here to make sure everyone knows who and what you really are. Leaving her standing bewildered and tearful by the curb, I head to my next destination, the local news station. I've contacted a reporter there, a hungry, up-and-coming journalist eager for a scoop. We meet in a dimly lit coffee shop, where I lay out the evidence of Agatha's affair, including texts and emails I've printed. The reporter, a keen young woman named Eliza, listens intently, her eyes alight with the prospect of breaking the story. This will get a lot of attention, she muses, tapping her pen against her notebook. Do what you have to, I say, sliding the folder across the table to her. Just make sure the story gets told. As I leave the coffee shop, the first rays of sunlight pierce through the urban grey, casting everything in a harsh, revealing light. Today, I've stripped everything back to the truth, and though it's a brutal landscape, it's real. Driving away, my phone erupts with notifications, texts, calls, social media alerts. The story is out and it's spreading like wildfire. My revenge, served cold and hard, is unfolding exactly as planned. The day ends with me alone in my apartment, the cityscape sprawling before me. I pour myself a drink, the clink of ice against glass sounding like a toast to solitude. Today, I've taken my revenge, but the victory is hollow. The battle may be won, but the war on my peace of mind rages on. As I sit, contemplating my next move, the plot thickens, weaving a path toward an uncertain yet inevitable conclusion in the chapters to come. As dusk settles over the city, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, a heavy silence envelops my apartment. The last few days have been a whirlwind of revenge and revelations, yet the storm inside me hasn't subsided. The news of Agatha's betrayal and my calculated public vengeance has spread, leaving a trail of shock and judgment in its wake. But tonight, the final act of my plan unfolds, a cruel conclusion to ensure that the betrayers receive their due. My phone vibrates incessantly with messages and calls, but I ignore them, focusing instead on the large envelope lying on my table. It contains the last piece of evidence I hadn't yet used, something even Agatha doesn't know I possess. It's a video of her and Tom, not just flirting, but damningly intimate, captured from a forgotten night when I had hired a private investigator after my initial suspicions. The city lights flicker as I prepare myself, my actions deliberate, the path set. I leave my apartment, the envelope secure in my briefcase. My first stop is not far, just a few blocks away, where Tom lives. The streets are quiet, the echo of my footsteps a steady companion as I make my way. Arriving at his building, I bypass the doorman, claiming an urgent message for Mr. Harrison. Once at his door, I don't bother knocking. Instead, I slide the envelope under his door where he can't miss it. The content of the video is explosive, enough to ruin any remnants of his reputation or career. With phase 1 complete, I move to the final and most decisive part of my plan. I drive across town to the broadcasting station where I have arranged for an interview under the guise of shedding light on personal betrayal and public judgment. The interview is live, the city tuning in, hanging on to the story that has captivated its residents. The lights of the studio are blinding, but I find my resolve in the darkness behind the cameras. The interview, a sharp-eyed woman named Rebecca, starts with soft questions, but soon, the topic shifts to betrayal. Betrayal is more than a personal failure, it's a public spectacle in today's world. I begin, my voice steady. But let me show you what true betrayal looks like. I pull out my phone, connected to the projector, and play the video for all to see. Agatha and Tom, in a compromising embrace, their secrets laid bare for the world. The shock is immediate, the backlash intense. I turn to the camera, my final words cold and hard. Let this be a lesson on fidelity and the venom of deceit. Leaving the studio, the weight of my actions begins to press down on me. The drive home is a blur, the city lights streaking past like distant stars. As I enter my apartment, the silence greets me like an old friend. I pour myself a drink, the ice clinking hollowly in the glass. But the night is not yet over. My phone rings, and I answer, knowing who it is before I even look. "Are you happy now?" Agatha's voice comes through, broken yet furious. "You destroyed everything." "We destroyed each other," I reply, the truth bitter on my tongue. "No, you chose this path," she retorts, her voice a mixture of sorrow and rage. "I chose justice," I state simply, the finality in my voice mirroring the end of our story. We hang up, and the line goes dead, much like the remnants of our relationship. In my solitude, I reflect on the price of revenge, steep and unforgiving. The city sleeps, unaware of the hearts it harbors, broken and weary from betrayal. Tonight, I sit alone, the victory as hollow as the echo of my steps in the empty street. Agatha and I, once bound by love, now part forever in our hatred of betrayal. The revenge was cruel, treacherous, and ruthlessly executed, but the cost was our souls, lost to the shadows of our actions.